Hey, and welcome back to my channel. The year is 2021. We survived 2020. Welcome back. I took a few weeks off and I feel fully revitalized and recharged and ready to talk to you today about something that people don't tend to talk about a lot, but is super important, especially if you're new to the entrepreneurship space this year, and that's dealing with uncertainty. Uncertainty is normal, 100% normal when it comes to entrepreneurship. So if you're thinking that you want to begin that journey this year and really start loosening the grip that the 9 to 5 has on you, you're going to have to get comfortable with it. And so I'm really hoping that by the end of this video, you will learn some lessons about how you can begin to start unpacking the fears that you have around uncertainty and really start thinking about it in a more positive light. Because if we're going to be perfectly honest here, dealing with things that are certain means you're dealing with things that are safe. And no one ever really hits big when they play it safe. If you're new to this channel, I'm Liz, and typically on this channel, I'm talking about demystifying YouTube and anti-capitalist entrepreneurship. So if that does vibe with you, then make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. And with that being said, let's get started. Before we actually start figuring out how the heck we can deal with uncertainty as entrepreneurs, we need to first think about why it is that we feel so uncomfortable with uncertainty in the first place. And the honest truth is just that we have been conditioned to not have to deal with uncertainty. Society has made it so that we are expected to follow a certain path, a certain cookie cutter path that has certain expectations attached to it and certain outcomes that we've come to expect from moving along this path. But in recent years, we've all learned that there is a dark side to following that path, a very, very dark side to it, including not necessarily getting some of the outcomes that you've come to expect with, say, getting a stable, quote unquote, 9 to 5. A lot of us are finding now that these jobs aren't quite so stable. We're also finding that it kind of comes with a little bit of soul sucking because you're forced to fit into this box that society has placed on you. And if you don't fit into that box, then you're probably not going to do so well going down that path. So we have been conditioned to make sure that we fit inside the lines. And by fitting inside the lines, we are then gifted or rewarded with certain outcomes. Now, when you're deciding to become an entrepreneur, it doesn't quite work that way. You're doing a lot of work up front that might not necessarily have an exact outcome that is immediate and timely. So it's not as simple as I go in and do X and then I expect Y. It's just not how it works. But that's not a bad thing. And here's why. Because it loosens how much control we need to have over our lives. Now, if you're anything like me and you're big on planning, you're big on long-term plans, you love making sure that if you do a certain thing's going to happen, then you can get really comfortable with that. And as an negative side effect of that, you also become accustomed to having so much control over everything in your life, which can have negative consequences, okay? Some control is not necessarily a bad thing, but many of us get to a point where we literally cling to having control over every aspect of our lives. And that causes us to miss out on some amazing things that we couldn't have otherwise planned or prepped for. And this attitude definitely seeps into the things that we do and come to expect as entrepreneurs, or even when starting YouTube channels. You expect that every time you pump out a video, you're going to get the same amount of views, you're going to get the same amount of subscribers. And when you become accustomed to these types of expectations, you get easily discouraged when it doesn't happen that way in quite a linear cycle. Now, I will admit flying blind is definitely uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable, but here are things to consider. Consider the beauty that is within living in just a tad bit of uncertainty. I mean, that means that you're fully present in your experience. So whether you're starting a business or a YouTube channel, you don't really know exactly what's going to happen. You don't know how things will morph or shape in the future. And that's really cool because who wants to know the ending to their own story? It just sucks all the life out of it, right? So remember that by being present and going with the flow, you really get to live through your own adventure. And that's awesome. Now, being present is key here. Especially as a new entrepreneur, you're going to want to focus on being present by focusing on relationship building. You're going to want to focus on creating content that really excites you. You really want to spend this time focusing on and developing your craft. You really want to know inside and out what it is that you're all about. You're going to want to make sure that the things that you create are always connected to your vision, connected to your mission. If you have trouble figuring out what that could be and how it all interconnects, then definitely check out my enhanced content calendar using the link in the description box below. You're going to want to make sure that every time you're creating content, you have a particular person in mind. And that is an excellent way to make sure that you are present in your business, because it makes sure that you're always leading with service, always leading with people first. That is the essence of anti-capitalist entrepreneurship. And that is one of the only ways that you're going to survive this marathon. Because again, trying to overcome uncertainty and not getting comfortable with it means that you're looking for kind of a quick fix and you're looking for a shortcut. And I guarantee you there are no shortcuts when it comes to building something from scratch, especially something that you actually care about, something that you truly believe will help solve an issue that you see in this world. When we're talking about uncertainty in entrepreneurship, we're really talking about the baseline of, are you going to make sales? Are you going to actually grow your audience? When we're talking about your YouTube channel, are you going to get enough views? Are you going to be able to get enough subscribers? And these are all definitely important questions to consider. But when you stop making that your end all be all and you start focusing on actually serving the people in your community, in your online community, then dealing with uncertainty becomes much, much easier. Because I guarantee you that the more energy that you put out there, the more positive energy you put out there, the more will come back to you. You need to make sure that you're focusing on real, genuine relationship building. You have to make it a two-way street. And I'll tell you this as well. The more that you get to know the people in your online community, the more it'll actually fill up your cup as well. Because we are not all just meant to do this alone, okay? The worst thing you can do is try and become an entrepreneur all by yourself without seeking any guidance or help from anyone else. It is a lonely road to walk on. We need people, okay? Society has convinced us that individualism is the only way to go, and it is just not true. Lean on your community as they will lean on you, and it'll be an easy reciprocal relationship. When you are fully present in community, giving as much as you are receiving, then you will be more equipped to handle the cycles within entrepreneurship. You'll be more likely to manage those ebbs and flows, those cycles of entrepreneurship, and you'll be able to last the long haul. And that's really what's at the heart of the matter here. We are fearful of uncertainty because we are fearful of the concept of cycles, the concept of seasons, of understanding that what we do now to invest into our futures, to invest into our businesses, we will see in the future and not have an immediate return. And it's important to understand that this is just how life works. When it comes to anything really, whether we're talking nature, whether we're talking our retirement accounts in the stock market, immediate returns are just not a real thing. It's great clickbait, but it's just not a real thing, okay? We need to dig within ourselves to help us focus on really getting comfortable with being present and building relationships, creating content that really lights us up and helps other people, and stop focusing so much on the immediate results of metrics. And it can be really tough, especially because everyone and their mama is out here trying to sell something to you, and they want to tell you, oh, I made 10K months doing X, Y, and Z, or, made this much in 30 days. I gained 1,000 subscribers in 30 days. These are unrealistic expectations, and they're really preventing us from being present and happy in the things that we create. The truth of the matter is the people that we do look up to when it comes to our YouTube channels, when it comes to our businesses, they weren't really overnight successes. And it always takes time. You never get the full story. We have to understand that there is no magic formula that substitutes trial and error and experimentation. Just know that if you do the work now, you will reap the benefits later. If you post to that YouTube channel on a consistent basis, you will grow. If you start helping at least one person every day with your service, with your business, not necessarily selling them something, but just giving them information they didn't have before, offering some advice that can really change the game on how they do things, then that will continue to compound and benefit you over time. So don't be fearful of uncertainty. Be comfortable with the idea that everything that you put out into this world, the energy that you put out there, the service that you provide to folks, the care you provide to your communities, it will come back to you. And you don't need to worry about having all the answers either, because the people that you look up to, they didn't have all the answers. They did things messy. They did things that made sense to them, and they learned from their mistakes. And that's life. That is the beauty of life. No matter if you're starting a business or not, that's just how you live. You can't see the future, so you might as well stop trying and just have fun. Go for what you want to do, because everything is made up. And enjoy the process. Get used to enjoying and getting comfortable with the process. And I guarantee you that when you start to feel those nagging doubts, you can address them head on. Let me know in the comments below how you're planning to help tackle your uncertainty as you begin building your business in 2021. And as you start considering the financial goals that you actually want to have for this year, what other negative thoughts pop into your head? What else do we need to address here so that we can keep going the long haul? Let me know in the comments below. And you know what? Maybe one of the things that we really need to do this year, especially this first quarter that we're in, is resting. You know, some of us have just been moving, trying to research and figure out what the problem is and what we need to do next. Maybe it's just time to rest a little bit. If you're trying to figure out whether or not you should be resting or achieving this year, then I pulled this one out of the archive for you to watch. I'll see you there.